Justin's Lighthouse Recovery, talking about the difference between immature emotions and mature emotions. I have always said that recovery from substance abuse, dysfunctional living, uh, being an adult but still not quite being able to put it all together, recovery from all of these conditions is about 60% just growing up. So last night we did we did a whole group. Our family group was about understanding our emotions and how we respond when we're dealing with things, and because everybody deals with the same issues, right? We've all got the same life journey. It may take different turns here and there, but we all have to deal with difficulties. The problem with addicts and alcoholics is we tend to, in our sickness, we define that word difficulty as being any experience where we're not getting something that we want, right? It's just not going our way for whatever reason because we're battling a huge sense of entitlement. We're dealing with unrealistic expectations. We have this high need to get what we want when we want it. And so that can make early recovery a little bit difficult because we're used to those things and we manipulate those things or getting those things. We want what we want when we want it. That's literally the motto of all addicts and alcoholics. So I'm just going to give you three quick ones, three quick comparisons. When we're displaying immature emotions, one of the characteristics is having a very simplistic idea about life. Right? It's like your whole focus that day is your little impulses. As long as I've got my phone 24 hours a day, watch how you react when you can't find your charger. Watch how you react when we can't even, I see guys that can't even sit in group without checking their phone. I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's the disease of addiction. That's the disease of dysfunction. That's one of the big things that's keeping us sick. The opposite of that, what we want to grow into from having such a simplistic idea about life, is we want to recognize the nuances of life, where we can have our experiences while we recognize our own goals and our own values and our own responsibilities, and we bring those things to bear in any given experience. We don't always need what we need in a particular situation. Which is why in our immature emotions, we spend a lot of time butthurt, right? We spend a lot of time in anxiety and stuck in our head and mumbling and one word answers when faced or confronted with some experience that we didn't like. Other people may question that, hey, is everything okay? No. Or I don't know. All of a sudden we start acting, 50-year-old men, we start acting like 3-year-olds. It doesn't make any sense unless you understand the disease of addiction. And remember, so much of this is driven by trauma. And I'm not going to get too much into that in this video, but this should be a wake-up call. If I'm still struggling in early recovery, it's because I'm probably not maturing any, right? I'm trying to do specific things that make it look like I'm in recovery, but I'm not really letting go of my ego, right? I'm still stuck in my sense of entitlement. I still have unrealistic expectations. I still think everybody owes me something just because I want it. Okay, number two. In our immature emotions, we attempt to control others, right, through our own behavior. We pout. We do the guilt trip. We even use shame as a manipulator. Kind of that all or nothing, when we screw up and then we get held accountable, or not even have to be held accountable. Maybe we're being encouraged or we're being supported. But in order for us to move past that, we would have to take some sort of responsibility. And so we can hide behind shame. And this is what that looks like. I just can't do it. I'm a loser. Nothing ever works out. I don't deserve your love. Right? Well, that's a child, and that person's not going to grow until they can start taking responsibility for that. And I can speak this harshly because I'm that guy too, right? I had to go on my own recovery journey, and I had to do some growing up too, even as an adult. Okay, so let me give you the opposite of that, though, the one I just said. So if we're going to practice having more mature emotions, or a more mature emotional response to a particular situation. The reality is we don't need other people to do any particular thing, so we don't need to control them, right? It reminds me of the line in the big book, acceptance is the answer to all my problems. I had a great mentor one time, and every time I was complaining about something, something wasn't going my way, or it made me feel this way, or it made me feel that way, his response to me was always not some great, words of wisdom. He'd literally just say, "So?" And of course, that was offensive in the beginning, but the more I heard him say it, it made me realize, my problem is in my head. It's everybody gets stuck in traffic, right? It's just not that big a deal. My problem isn't that I'm stuck in traffic. My problem is I really thought I was going to get in my car at 5 o'clock in rush hour traffic and drive clear across town in 5 minutes or less, right? We have a thinking problem. And so we have to start identifying these thinking errors in the way we respond emotionally to whatever we're experiencing. One last one, and then I'm going to let you go. In our immature emotions, we literally don't believe other people have a right to choose what they choose. The perfect example of that is that moment or that point where we all get to where the jig is up, our families are done, they're not going to enable us anymore. They will offer to help, right? They say, "Hey, I'm not paying your rent anymore, but I'll help you go to rehab." Well, we don't want that. And we get so angry and upset just like a child because we're not getting something that we're wanting. And at the core of that is I don't think my family has a right to choose what they are choosing. I think I'm entitled to them always choosing my self-destruction. Of course, we don't look at it that way, right? Because in order for me to change, I got to take responsibility. And that is a childlike idea, right? Well, in childhood, we're scared of responsibilities. It's a four-letter word to us. Oh, have you lived up to your responsibilities? We don't know what that is when we're a kid, but we exhibit the exact same thing as adults, right? In our sickness. That's what recovery is about. Recovery is about learning how to grow up. And in order to do that, we've got to start recognizing how immature we are on an emotional level. The opposite of that, in a mature emotion, instead of needing or believing that other people don't have a right to choose what they choose, a more mature emotional response to, say, a situation where someone is choosing something we don't want them to choose is in acceptance. Recognizing that we have a right to choose the things that we choose, and they have a right to choose the things that they choose, even if we don't like it. You might want to take a look at that. If you're getting so upset because someone else is choosing something and you can't get past it, and all you can think about is wishing they would change, they would make a different decision, so then you wouldn't have to whatever, take responsibility, miss that appointment, have to take care of something else, not be able to do something that you wanted to do. That's the child versus adult mentality, and it's the only way we're going to get there is we got to lose the ego. Okay, we got to drop the ego, But that doesn't happen automatically. That's why we need help. We need each other. Recovery is a fellowship. Whether you're a full-on alcoholic, drug addict, or you're just going through a difficult period in your life, and drugs and alcohol and dysfunctional behaviors has become your outlet or your relief or your cover, the solution is the same for all of us. But you got to get in it. You got to get in the middle of it. And you got to surrender, and you got to be open, and you got to be able to admit, hey, I do act like a child often. It doesn't mean we're children. That's not an offense. That's not an insult. It's reality, right? And the more you get honest with yourself about that, the more we can begin to grow. Okay, so Dr. Miles, Justin's Lighthouse Recovery. Check out our website. We're going to start doing a whole lot more YouTube videos. So we really appreciate you watching. Thank you.